Well, it's another day, and here we are. Some of us are colder than others. Some of us are
Winter.
older than others. But there you go. Good to see you all, Joe. Chaps, all well and healthy. How's life, Frank? How you going there?
Pretty good, pretty good. As I was saying, we're halfway between two houses, and it's a real absolute shambles. Something I didn't want to do it in my mid 70s was move house again. Uh, but these things happen, and I didn't realise I had so much junk. I mean to say, when I moved from Kerry to Otrahonga, I got rid of a 9 cubic metre bin full. And
Wow.
here, I've only been here 3 years and I've already filled a 9 cubic metre bin.
Were you a
And
stormer?
I've got a house about the size of a hobbit house. I'm going to.
uh, is that something that speaks volumes about you, or
Oh, it just shows you I've hoarded so much junk, so much junk.
how's life in Rotorua, Pete?
Life's good. Sun shining. It's warmed up to 10 degrees from a lower four. So, yeah, no, it's all good.
Good. All right. Well, half a dozen topics, maybe, or a couple, three or four or something. God knows what. The kickoff is VE Day. Was that yesterday, day before?
Uh, yeah, it's the day before they had it on the night before. I
Right.
watched a fair bit of it live. It was
Right.
um, it was very a typical British well organised pageant. Um, they sort of kept it pretty low key to a section of the Navy, section of the Army, and a section of the Air Force, and then all the odds and sods in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big parade, but it was well done. I
Okay.
saw the New Zealand representatives. I think they had two there for New Zealand,
Good.
but it was a typical British pageant. And the king looked a bit unsteady on his feet, I thought.
Well, it could be the effects of the chemo and cancer and stuff kicking in.
Yeah, yeah.
And his son, he's put a fair bit of grief in his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
So that was the first big tick in the box. The second one is the government announcing on, was it Sunday, they're going to spend 2 billion on maritime helicopters, 5 helicopters. Boost the navy. All you old salty sea dogs would be happy about that, wouldn't you, Frank?
Yeah, but I think it's the replacement of the frigates would be more important. They're coming towards the end of their life.
Yep.
Um, I don't know what they're going to do for replacements, but I reckon they could have got a good deal off the Aussies, who are building a new class of frigate pretty rapidly.
Right. Right.
In
Oh
fact,
well.
how old are those? How old are those Sea Sprite helicopters that they're replacing?
Came out in the 70s, so what are
Oh,
they there?
look,
70.
they are
Yeah,
old.
because they'd arrived when I was still in.
Oh, okay.
And,
So
and
you're
you're
looking
looking a
at
bit worse for
what?
wear.
Yeah, they'd be getting a bit tired, I'd say.
Oh,
Well
would you?
maintained by our Air Force friends.
And the other thing that Frank, you were saying just before we came on here about the what's happened for veterans in the UK. That's a bit interesting.
Yeah,
What I understand
the
about that?
government, as part of the celebration of VE Day, they have set up a new system called the Valor for veterans of the British Armed Forces, which will give the veteran in the UK a step up or a little bit of a bit higher on the ladder. So, for example, as you said, Peter, if they need a knee operation, instead of waiting 2 years, they'll be moved up the ladder because they're a veteran. And I think it'll be excellent because there's a lot of them in the UK who are same as we are here. We wait for years.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, that sounds like a good move. Maybe someone should. Oh, you're a old Navy chap. You send one to your buddy there, Minister Pink, and say, "Here's a good idea, Minister."
He doesn't even answer my letters now. He's got a little lackey that does it.
He's got your name in a little book, Frank.
Yeah.
They got
Under
all our
green.
names in a little book.
And of course, the other thing that's we spoke about last week is these two bits of legislation: the Veterans Recognition Bill and the changes to Anzac Day. And I see there's been a couple of posts on the Southeast Asian Veterans Association Facebook page in relation to that. So, what are your thoughts on what those two people have said, Pete? You're being a bit quiet.
Well, they were pretty much bang on the button. There's a couple of things that I picked up on. One was that they're sort of indicating that 3 years will be the time limit for declaring a veteran, but that hasn't been decided yet.
No.
Yeah.
So I think all options need to stay open. And as we talked about last week, we looked at 12 weeks, which is the end of everybody's basic training, which leg of the New Zealand Armed Forces we were in.
Yep.
And the thing was, at that stage, you were considered trained as a soldier, sailor, or airman, and that you were ready to go and do whatever you had to do for your queen or king and country. So the rest of it is good. I mean, we've already got a kawanata from the previous Veterans Advisory Board, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel in that part. So
Yep.
things need to be sped up a bit, and they just need to go back and look at some of that older stuff and go, yep, this is it. Let's just implement it with the modern look. So
Yeah. Tick a box and away we go, we hope.
yeah. Not drag it out for another 8 years.
We have been waiting for so long, especially the Kawanata. I mean, to say, how many years is it since that was first put together?
Yeah. So also, Frank, I noticed that the Navy representative's been left out of the Veterans Advisory Board for the second time.
Yes, this is the second time that, for some unknown reason, Mr. Pink has decided that the Navy do not need a representative on the board. I haven't actually asked him why.
Frank, is that him that's done it twice, or the government of the day's done it
Well,
twice?
it's the government of the day because he's just done the recent one.
Yeah. So the last one, there was no Navy representative either?
No.
So
but they've got civilians on it, I noticed.
no answers on that'd make a good OIA question, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And once I get out of the shambles of moving house, that'll be on my list.
So in the I think it was when Minister Marks was running the Veterans Affairs, the Veterans Advisory Board didn't have a naval representative. And I think the Navy, ex-Navy, made representation to him. And there was someone who was appointed, but they were kind of not part of the board. Is that right?
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So they may not have had a vote, but they could have some input or something like that. Obviously, the senior service have upset the government at some point.
You reckon?
That's why you're only getting helicopters and not frigates.
Yeah. I'll get in touch with them. Don't worry.
Mind you, the new helicopters will have a problem landing on the Manawanui.
Not if they've got floats.
They might have underwater capabilities.
And I think
they're pretty short on what they can buy, really. There's not that many around.
Yeah. And I think it's good that there's other input into the discussion around the Veterans Recognition Bill. And on one hand, you could say it's It's little more than a distraction because nobody gets anything really. And it causes a little bit more confusion because now we've got, as Frank Rands points out in his article, more tiers, more layers of who a veteran is, rather than honing everything down, making it quite inclusive. And the only separation would be on, I would see, what relates to your personal injuries. So if you're at one scale, that's it, you get this. And if you're, doesn't matter whether you're operational or served your whole time in New Zealand, because that was the theory under the War Pensions Act, Section 19. Up to and including death, you were covered by the Pensions Act, the War Pensions Act. So my feeling is that one should come back in. It's a good catch-all. Everybody was included. 3 little sections. If you killed or injured or have illness from service overseas, or if it was the same but in New Zealand, tick this box.
Yeah, you were covered. I noticed that Veterans Affairs got $1 million.
Oh,
So I don't know what that'll be for.
that'll go a long way.
They're going to buy a computer.
It might move my claim up the ladder.
One other thing I think is really important is when you talk about tri-service representation, the other thing to me that's really important is that the veterans, it needs to be more than one party in the discussion. So, it should be Labour, National, Greens, Te Party Maori, whoever, so that they can all sit down, bang it out, and all agree, so that every time there's a bloody election, every 3 years, it doesn't go, no, we don't like that,
Yeah.
out it goes.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of that nonsense, and my God, it must be time wasting.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just sat down and did their job properly in the first place, it should be able to go through regardless who the government of the day is. So
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. And I think the only major defining feature is how much is it's going to cost, and Treasury normally ends up having the final say, or the Minister of Finance. Oh no, we can't afford that. Oh yes, we can. Blah blah blah. It might.
She found several $1 billion yesterday by looking at changing that pay equity thing. So
Yeah.
several $1 billion.
Yeah.
Never mind. These things are good.
We only want 144 million of that.
Yeah.
What else is happening? So, if you're living in somewhere, Auckland, I think it is, 20th of May is the Veterans Affairs Clinic. So it's a 2-place clinic. The morning session is at Ranfurly Veterans Centre, Mount Albert Road, and the afternoon session is Manurewa RSA. So one I think is 10:30 to midday, and then the other one is like 1 o'clock till 3:30, something like that. So if you go online, check with Veterans Affairs, they'll give you all the details of addresses and finalised timings. And I think the 28th, I'll just check, give me a moment, because I can't rely on my memory anymore. Yes, it is the 20th for Auckland, and the 28th is in the north, Turner Centre, 43 Cobham Road, Kerikeri, between 10 and 2. Yes, I was correct. Manurewa RSA between 1 and 3:30. So if you're in those areas, and I see from the postings on the Veterans Affairs website that Dunedin seemed to be pretty well attended by those down there. So excellent. I think these clinics are a good idea to meet the people face to face and see what can be progressed. And I think from experiences here in Christchurch that many of the issues are solved before they get to the clinic. So that opens up space for other people. It's a good thing. Right. anything else? Oh, yes, here we go. As usual, the Veterans Drop-In Centre at Tauranga RSA, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 till 3 o'clock. So if you're watching this at midday, you've got until 3 o'clock to shoot down to the RSA and have a chat to someone today. But if not, you got next week on Tuesday. All right. Frank, how are we off for crossing the bars?
Yes, been a very good week for us. We have nothing at this week.
Okay, thank you. In this one, I have very few details. Ian J. Mackay, known as Blue, RNZ Artillery, passed away on the 26th of April 2025, and he served in 161 Battery on the number 5 gun as a gun number in 1966-67 in Vietnam. So to those, not only those who have passed away, but also to the to those who have served, we thank you all for your service. We thank you for those remaining who may have served at the tail end of World War II. We thank them for their service. Any volunteers for the ode?
Yeah, I can do it.
Thank you.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the growing down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you,
I
Frank.
see they estimate we have 80 World War II veterans left.
Wow.
I don't know how they work that out, but
I
Well,
hope
obviously
they all have their birthdays on different days. Otherwise, you'd set the whole bloody world on fire.
yeah, because they're all going to be knocking on 100.
Oh, there would be, yep. Yeah. Well, my father would be over 100 now, so.
All right. Well, I think that's about us for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Pete and Frank. We might see if we can get Frank Rand to come on next week and have a chat about his views and things on Veterans Recognition Bill. That might be a bit of a change of face.
That would be good, because I was going to say I won't be here next week. So.
Oh, okay, Pete.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So that's us for today. Be safe wherever you are. Don't forget, grab the phone, talk to your mates. It's always nice to have a phone call from someone who knows just how off the wall you really are after having served, and how unlike your civilian counterparts you might be.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's it. Take care. Be safe. If you're on the West Coast, keep dry. I think it's Thursday, Friday. She's in for a bit of a damper over there. So if you need assistance, don't forget to pick up the phone, give us a ring, send us a text, send us a message via email or text or whatever, and we'll see what we can do to help. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.